a lot of people very excited. 22nd of February, we're going to get that PS2 VR. But you think this is going to drive further PS5 sales as well? But is it going to be that significant? Because, you know, everyone's trying to get into this VR business, but I'm not necessarily saying that the VR1 was a little bit of a dud, but it's just the support from the software side. I'm talking about the games that then pair with it. So do you think that the next iteration is going to have a lot more functionality, a lot more use, and a lot better content to go with the headset?
Yeah, so we think that one key point to note is that Sony has been quite enthusiastic or aggressive about ensuring that a lot of the AAA developers are fully on board with producing VR titles this time. And at launch, they'll have two of their first-party titles in Horizon and Gran Turismo, as well as Capcom's Resident Evil franchise. So those are three very strong titles to launch with, and the overall launch lineup, I think, is something like 30 titles. Of course, some of them are smaller indie titles, but the key, as always, is just the software. And in this case, we think the software lineup looks good. And obviously, the vast majority of people have had very high praise for the hardware itself. And even with the PSVR 1, I think initially it was quite a success, but as time went on, just because the technology was very immature, we think that a lot of competitors sort of caught up and passed it, and it just became sort of an interesting gimmick rather than, you know, anything cutting edge. But we think that with the VR2, the technology has now matured to a large extent, and although this is not sort of the final form of it, we do think that it's sufficiently close to becoming a really compelling experience that we would actually be inclined to believe that the PlayStation VR2 could actually be a very big deal for this year. And in addition, the sort of supply chain bottlenecks seem to be clearing somewhat, so we think that overall PlayStation 5 sales are likely to rise as well. So like a lot of people, we think that there's a lot of potential for the stock, and it's not done a huge amount over the last year or so, even though markets have been weak. So we think it looks very attractive here.